Hi, and welcome to Rabbit Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I'll be doing a collective read today. Now, the energy this week has felt a little bit textured, a little bit heavy, with the culmination of it feeling like it happened yesterday, or maybe even last night. And I'm not sure how other people are feeling this, but it felt like an important kind of day. Maybe you found yourself having deep conversations with someone. Maybe something that has been needed to be brought to light or brought to the surface has finally found its way to the surface, and now whatever it is needs to be addressed or needs to be talked about or needs to be considered. But there is something that I'll start shuffling these cards I'm being told to. But there is something that I'm being told that the collective is feeling. And for some reason, something connected to yesterday. So that was May 8th, Friday. There was like real heavy energy. I feel like there was lots of maybe tension in your shoulder, tension in your neck. Maybe even tightness in your throat. Maybe there was something to be spoken on. Maybe there was something to understand or to realize or to be addressed or to consider, as I said. So let's see what the energy is about and what we can do, or what Spirit's advice to us is going into this weekend. Okay, so I'm going to ask that the spirits I work with to be present. What I'm going to be doing is pulling what I consider archetype cards. Now, they're not, in the traditional sense, archetype cards. They are character cards. But what I like to use them for is how these cards will bring out what the collective, like my luminaries that watch my channel, what you might be feeling or attributes it might be encompassing during this time. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go for 3. Oh, let's give it the honor. I want it to be seen. So we have a lost soul. So this is a seeker of clarity. There may be confusion and struggle going on in there. So this is that feeling that I was tapping into yesterday, that there is this kind of, I don't know what to do. How do I incorporate this? How do I address this? How do I consider this? Can I carry this weight? Do I understand the magnitude of this situation? Can I carry this burden? These are things that I feel like the collective has been thinking about, worrying about. And this is not to say that you can't carry these burdens, that you aren't strong enough. These are things that collective that you're giving me. These are concerns. These are worries. I'm feeling a little bit of like, I'm seeing like an animal go under a porch, the same way that an animal, when they are hurt or scared or injured, oftentimes seeks shelter. They pull inward. Okay, let's see what else. Then we have child, beacon of hope, spring, innocence, growth, vulnerability. Okay, so with this and this, look at how different these cards are. We have some muted gray tones and we have some really warm, bright tones. One is confusion and struggle and seeker of clarity. And this one is a beacon of hope with growth and vulnerability. There is something that tells me that the particular collective that is signaling me today, that I'm tapping into today, the specific group of luminaries, you're trying to figure out how to be vulnerable. Can I do this? Am I able to grow in this way? Maybe there is a situation at work or with friends or family or love, like romantic love, that is asking you to kind of like be a little bit more vulnerable than you're used to. I'm hearing I spent a lot of time especially curating this armor to protect myself. But when it comes to like lowering the shield, lowering the mask, taking the armor off, it's hard because there is this feeling of, how do I do this? How can I be this vulnerable and allow myself to grow? It's difficult. It's not something I'm comfortable with. I spent so much time being this version of myself that now that this other version is being called upon me to be vulnerable, how do I do that? It's scary. It is, I just heard triggering. It's triggering. So I'll put those up there. Let's get one more. What else is the collective feeling right now? Okay. Love, romance, an infinity. Okay. This is a love reading. And it's not just a love reading. We have lost soul, child, and lover. We have a seeker of clarity, confusion, and struggle. We have a beacon of hope, innocence, growth, vulnerability, and love and romance. You, collective, are being asked to open up and be vulnerable in a love connection. One that demands and requires your full emotional presence, clarity, maturity, vulnerability. And I'm not saying that you don't want to give those things. I'm not saying that you can't give those things, but there is something that tells me that there's a collective that is struggling with wanting to make that change. Not for the other person, but for yourself. I mean, doing it for yourself does end up helping future relationships, whether or not they be friendship, romance, professional, or familial. Being able to allow yourself to extend that olive branch, to go out on a limb and be vulnerable sometimes, learning to be okay with being that vulnerable for yourself helps in relationships across the board. This is what it feels like that the collective is really focusing on, this kind of energy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. Let me put those up here, and I'll move these off the table. Or off the side, rather. Okay, so love. This is really impacting love right now. And I feel like there's a tightness in my chest right now. There is the feeling that perhaps the want to be able to open up and be vulnerable, even if it is scary or challenging or difficult, you want to do that for you, but you understand how it's affecting connections around you. And there might be one in particular that you're especially keen to save or to mend, or at least to part ways with amicably. This is a big reading. I was going to use these kind of like a funny deck that helps us identify our shadows. I was definitely going to use those, but now that this doesn't feel like the levity, it feels misplaced here. So I'm going to be using a different oracle. I'm going to use Intuitive Whispers, which is a little bit gentler. They're all kind of mixed up. Hold on. Well, that's all right. I don't read reversals with oracles. But this is how you're feeling, but I'm going to use this Intuitive Whispers, put it over here for Spirit, what Spirit is trying to remind you of, to keep your focus there. What do we have? Okay, well, right away. 23. Your body is like a book. So when it says your body is like a book, I fully believe that means your body holds all the past chapters of all the past connections. It holds your past story, both all the wonderful, beautiful journeys as well as the hardships. And when your body is like a book, and your body holds the story of everything that you've endured, it is an interesting and colorful mosaic of all the different pieces of people that you've met, that you've loved, that you've become friends with, the lessons that they taught you, the things that affected you. You become this kind of living museum of everything that you've experienced, as well as the people who've touched your lives. And sometimes in those moments, there are things that we carry, part of our chapters, that are hard, that are difficult, that sometimes we continue to reread, even when it's time to move forward, even when it's time to turn the page, even when it's time to start that new chapter. I'm feeling the energy of, you might have a lot of, again, tension in your neck, in your shoulders. I'm feeling like mental fog. So let's get one more oracle here. What else does Spirit want to say? Okay. Oh, we've got 3. All right, we'll take those. I'll put this over to the side. So then we have clear limiting beliefs. Remember how I said, sometimes when we look at our body like a book, sometimes we keep rereading chapters that have already passed, that have already concluded, that have already ended. And we keep rereading those chapters because we are so sure that those same chapters are going to repeat going forward. And then when we read new chapters, or when we're trying to read new chapters of our life, our body responds. You know, if you're in a new chapter of your life, a new relationship, a new connection, but your body's responding with tension, or like your throat feels tight, or you feel like, for lack of a better term, like your voice doesn't want to be heard, or that you're withholding your truth, it's holding it in your body. It's reacting like an old chapter, even though you're in a new chapter. So this clear limiting beliefs is the understanding and the realization that while maybe you don't know what's going to happen in this next chapter, it's not the same as the last one. And yes, there will be peaks and valleys. Yes, there will be happiness and points of vexation, but it isn't the same chapter. There is also this feeling that, again, with this seeker of clarity, this confusion, this struggle, it's like this is like someone's having a really hard time articulating what they're feeling. In the most realist sense, it feels like I can't quite find the right words that would honestly convey what they're feeling, or what you're feeling, collective. And so, because it feels like you can't find the right words. Sorry about the dog outside. Pardon. Even if it feels like you can't find the right word, that doesn't mean you can't still say an approximation, the closest thing. Sometimes you got to kind of suss around and find the feeling. The clear limiting belief is that if you feel like you can't describe how you're feeling, it's like you don't. You just rather keep it inside rather than try to find the right word. Collective, I don't want you stifling your voice. You have to speak your truth. Next card is intuitive journaling. You know, it's funny that this came up because I was going to suggest sometimes when you can't find the words, sometimes writing that out, like stream of consciousness, just writing out how you're feeling in the moment, getting it down on paper can help narrow down the specific phrase or specific adjective or word you want to use in order to convey how you might be feeling, the things that you're worried about, the things you might be sore or angry about, the things that make you sad or a worry. And all of that is in context to a love relationship, there is so much almost feeling like anxiety that you can't quite say the right thing, or you can't quite find the right word to explain or to express or to detail what you're trying to say to your partner. And this might be you, this might be your partner, but it feels like there is a little bit of a breakdown in communication. And that little bit of breakdown in communication is kind of putting you like on edge. Like you don't want to lose this connection. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And since you're trying to figure out how can I be vulnerable? How can I grow in the way that allows me to be vulnerable with my love, with the person that you care about? There is the want to change, but then there is the fear of making a mistake. So let's get into tarot, because it seems, I don't want to say it's serious, but it is something that's heavily weighing on your mind. So let me see the cards. Can you explain more what the collective is feeling? Okay. What is the collective currently feeling? Outside of the general right here of feeling a little lost, struggling to learn how to grow, to be vulnerable in a love connection. Can we get some details? Oh, okay. Fell right on the love card. So we have Knight of Swords in reverse. This is the feeling of withholding the truth. A truth that you so badly want to bring forward, and or you feel like you should communicate, but you're having a really hard time. It's almost like you've given yourself some sort of emotional or mental gag order, like you're not allowed to say what you feel for fear of the fact that maybe your partner wouldn't like it, or maybe they would misunderstand, or you don't want to be too much, or if I don't say the right thing in the right way, they might leave. There is this feeling of you're not bringing forth the truth that should be coming in. Oop, there we go. Okay. So then we have Queen of Swords. This is telling me that you've been hurt before. And what I love about the Queen of Swords is the energy is you've been hurt before. You understand what happened in the past, but you're willing to move forward. You're willing to be open to new connections. There is some learning and lessons that you've gathered and you've alchemized from the past, but there's still, and I can see right here, there's another air card coming forward. So this is a lot about communication. So we have Queen of Swords, and then we have the Palace of Swords, which is, this is a new deck. Let me double check, because I don't want to be wrong. Don't want to be wrong. Let's see what the Palace of Swords represents. I have an inkling that it's the King of Swords, but let me see. Okay. So this is neither a queen or a king. This is an extra card, which I love in a new deck like this. So let me just read it, what it is. This card shows an environment that promotes clear thinking in the cold, crisp air. Sorry if it's a little bit out of focus. The structures rise above the obscuring mists that usually cloud our thinking and are built as observation decks for the purpose of efficient perception rather than luxurious living. The many wings suggest the mind's ability to overcome emotional biases and attain global perspective. Okay, so love this. There is a truth that you want to bring forward, but for some reason you've been kind of biting it. You've given yourself some sort of mental, emotional kind of gag order where you're like, oh, I can't say what I want to say, even though I really want to. And in the past, you've had previous hurts, and you've learned and you've alchemized to it, and you're open to having connections, and you want to be truthful. But first, there needs to be what do you call it? Like a sanctuary, a place that you feel safe in order to express how you feel. So take it as it resonates. You may be existing in a place or a situation or an event that maybe you feel like is not the best time to share what you need to say. Whether it be like maybe you're in between jobs, or maybe you have some extenuating circumstances. Maybe there are family issues. Maybe you're quarreling with friends. So you have some other background thing going on, while at the same time you realize that you want to be able to communicate with your partner in an efficient way where you have clarity. But right now, it seems like you're holding back. Even though you've encountered hurts before, you've been able to transmute and alchemize, and you're willing to move forward and to be truthful. But for some reason, it feels like you feel like now is not the right time because the environment is not conducive for you to be honest about how you actually feel. And let me just step away from this reading for a second and say, if you feel like you need to communicate something and you think it's important enough that if you do or you don't, it affects your relationship, go ahead and have that conversation. Because sometimes it can feel like it's never a good time to have a courageous conversation, but it's better to say that you tried and you move forward with honesty and being genuine than to try to wait for the perfect moment. Life is always going to happen. Life is always going to life. And so again, if you're feeling like you want to learn to grow and you're struggling with the idea of being vulnerable, you're struggling with the idea of wanting to divulge what you really want to say or what you need to say to a partner because you feel like it will upset the apple cart. And also you think it's maybe not the greatest time to say it. Like, that's a lot to be carrying. That is a lot to be carrying on your shoulders. And a relationship is a partnership. You being able to talk to your person and say, I've got something on my mind, and I'm trying to find the right words for it. So forgive me if I fumble a little bit, but you're inviting them into a partnership. You're inviting them to work together with you so that you can tell them how you feel, your reality, what your concerns, what your worries, what you need to address. Whatever it is that you're holding back that you feel like you should say, but you don't know how to be vulnerable, but you also feel like it's not the right time, go ahead and have that conversation. Because you're never going to be easy if you're constantly holding this burden, and they are your partner. It's a two-person, collective. It's I don't know how to describe it. Ideally, your partner is someone that can be strong when you need support, and then you can be strong when they need support. So give them the chance to be that support for you. I'm getting the inkling that you're always kind of the support. You're always making sure that they're okay, making sure that they're happy, that nothing is too dynamic or too hurtful in their kind of just reality. And that does you a credit. But also let them support you when you need that emotional, mental, or spiritual support. Let's get one more card. One more card. What else is the current situation of this collective? So we have the Four of Coins. The Four of Coins is about holding something tightly. Holding onto something tightly. Now, it usually has, because it's coins, it's about abundance. So abundance doesn't always have to be money. It can be what you value highly. And if what you value highly is your partner, this relationship, well, you're white knuckling this relationship. You're holding on for dear life because you want success. You want to make this work. And maybe deep inside, you know that it could work. The Four of Coins is also about self-protection. It's about being a little bit guarded. And can you see how being a little bit guarded or worrying about being vulnerable can also make and stress you out about this connection? Like, it's interesting. Maybe you're an air and earth sign, but do you see how I'm saying, like, I see a concern and worry over struggling and wanting clarity, and you're confused about how do I learn to be more vulnerable? How do I discuss my feelings with the person that I love? I've been withholding something that I probably know I should say. I've been hurt before, and I've learned how to alchemize. I want to move forward truthfully, but right now I feel like maybe it's not the best time because of maybe there are extenuating circumstances around you that you feel maybe add too much gravity to the situation, but you are white knuckling this situation. You're white knuckling this relationship. You're holding on for dear life because you recognize it as an abundance or as an abundant relationship. You see promise, but you're also a little guarded. A little guarded. So, let me ask Spirit for advice. What should the collective do? What should the collective do? What does Spirit want my beautiful luminaries to do or to consider if they're in this current state, this current mind or worry? Whoop. 10 of Swords. This pain that you're going through, this worry, it is coming to an end. This particular cycle, and I say cycle because the 10 of Swords leads right back to the Ace of Swords, which is truth and clarity, seeker of clarity. But when I said cycles, I meant that 10 to 1 journey, but it also just made me feel like perhaps this is something that you felt before. This isn't just the first time that you've needed to express how you feel, but you feel like maybe it's not a safe time or not the right time. You don't know how to be vulnerable and grow. Maybe this isn't the first time, and Spirit is saying, even if this is not the first time, you will end this cycle and return to clarity. There is something coming forward. I'm really getting the inclination there's something going to come forward very soon that is going to give you perspective and helps you understand that while this is painful now, while it's difficult now, this isn't how it's always going to be. There is an end to this cycle. What else is Spirit trying to say? The Emperor. I love that this cycle of pain, or the cycle of maybe not feeling like you can say what you need to say in a relationship that requires open and honest communication. I love that we move from ending that cycle of holding back to the Emperor. This is someone who fully leans into their self-confidence and their power. They're not gregarious, they're not overly ambitious, but they're solid. They understand their protector energy, their clarity energy, they're diplomatic, they're understanding, they're intuitive, they're grounded. This cycle of not being able to speak on how you feel in situations of love or feeling like you can't is going to end, and you are going to be moved into your own power, your own confidence, where that cycle will be a thing of the past. What else is Spirit's trying to say? Try to tell us. Wheel of Fortune. It's going to happen pretty soon. It feels like the wheels of fate are kind of moving in this direction, in your direction, in the direction of positive growth. The wheel is also about ending cycles. Forward progression. There is movement happening right now. As I do this reading, there is movement happening in the situation that will end this cycle and move you into your power. This is confirmation that there is movement happening, that there is growth happening, that there is clarity coming. And last card. Oh, well, we have several. That one really, really wants to come out. Okay, so we have two cards. I'll take them both. So we have the Six of Swords in reverse and Judgment in reverse. Okay, well, here's the thing. There is movement happening. This cycle will end. You will be, more specifically, asked to move into your power. Universe or spirit or whatever energies you work with are going to provide you the opportunity to end the cycle, to move into your power, because as the universe is wont to do, it wants to move you forward in a way that's aligned with you. I will add this caveat. I will add this. However, you have to choose that for yourself. Judgment in reverse and the Six of Swords in reverse. Six of Swords is about movement forward. Again, moving forward from one cycle end to cycle beginning. Wheel of Fortune, moving forward. Six of Swords is about movement forward, whether it's internal movement like growth or literal movement, moving to a new place, a new job, a new apartment, a new relationship. But in reverse, normally I would say it's an internal journey. But with the Judgment card in reverse, this is Judgment card upright would be a call to action. Realizing, hey, this is what I need to do. I'm being called to do that. With it in reverse, it is a refusal of the call. So very specifically, there is movement happening. And I'm going to stick with what I said. There is movement happening, but you decide which way it's going to go. Spirit or the universe can only bring you to the point of decision to say, hey, we see that you're having these cycles. We see that you want to move into your power. We see you want to move forward so desperately. So we're going to move you to the point. We're going to allow situations to unfold. We're going to bring you to the point of decision. It's a crossroads, but you have to decide whether or not you're ready or if you want to stay where you are. This is a serious read, collective, and I hope it resonates for someone out there, because boy, does it feel strong. Boy, does it feel strong. I'm being told to look at the bottom of the deck, so we will. The Fool. Confirmation of what I just said. You have a path. Do you want to be the Fool in the sense of being able, being willing, and moving forward to a new adventure, a new chapter, into healing, into growth? Or are we going to lean into the alternate Fool energy of not wanting or being reckless or not looking before you leap? Hoping that everything will be okay without any internal change. So that is the reading for today. Sorry it was a little bit heavier than normal, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't read exactly how the cards felt. So this is Rabbit and Moon Tarot. I hope that this resonated, and I hope it gave someone some sort of clarity or confirmation or like an outside perspective of their situation. I really do. So again, this is Rabbit and Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I will see you at the next reading.